Good morning, folks. Futures are a tad higher in front of the delayed NFP report due out at 8:30. Dow futures up 50, 60, Nasdaq up 20. Metals are leading this morning with silver up as much as 5% in the pre-market. Let's go through the NFP. First off, no, there are wide-ranging estimates. Typically, there are some concrete numbers here. It could be a messy number. I would say street consensus is between 68 and 70,000 jobs added. A big part of today's event is actually going to be revisions, which go back to 2024. Remember, we had a shocking round of revisions that showed the jobs market much weaker than many realized. Moving on. Is there an issue for you guys? Just before I waste my time? Okay, great. So as far as, and by the way, T3 should fix this. We're having tons of sound issues over and over for a couple days now. Anyhow, let's go through the numbers. JPM, as in JP Morgan, they see an issue with the market if we have under 30,000 jobs added. That's first and foremost. If we have a hot number, which is unlikely, but something in terms of 100 to 110,000 added, then there's a problem for the market. So go 30,000 on the low end and 1 to 110 on the high end. Then you have this big area in the middle, and the market could be up or down 0.5%. I think revisions could be a big deal as well if they are so dramatic that everyone's like, wait a second, this jobs market is just particularly soft for a lot of years now, and we didn't even know about it. So we kind of have to absorb the numbers, really wait for the revisions before we just kind of guess and buy or sell a bunch of stocks. At least that's what I will be doing. So again, 68 to 70,000, under 30 would be a real issue. Let's go 110 would be a real issue. And that's the NFP number. Lots of earnings to digest. Let's go through them. Astera Labs, A-Lab, not nearly good enough after a nearly 40% rally into the print. The street was quite disappointed, and the CFO is stepping down to advise the CEO. So I believe the old Rambus CFO will be stepping in. A-Lab is down, last I saw, 13% this morning. Moving on, Robinhood, big rally into the print, but a lot were concerned. Crypto and other areas, would it affect their numbers? Well, it was a messy print. They beat on earnings. Revenue was below, and the stock is down 7 or 8% in the pre-market. I think a few of you were shorting it 80 and higher last night. Just not a good enough print. That's Robinhood. Cloudflare is leading to the upside this morning, and it's definitely sticking out in a good way, up 15% as we speak. Numbers were a beat, right? But if you look at the headline numbers, you might wonder why the stock's up 15%. Here's what I deduct out of their earnings report. It's really about them being one of the few companies to prove they are benefiting from AI. They have embraced agentic AI and they are prospering. And that's why the stock's up 15% this morning, and Cloudflare is leading to the upside. NET. Vertiv, it turns out the AI trade is alive and well, and they are key to the cooling arena. Strong beat and raise. Stock is up 15% this morning. Unity did beat, but guidance a bit soft, and people are very worried about AI hurting their business, and the stock is getting an ultimate beatdown this morning, down 26%. Then there are a few other names, which I don't care to waste my time on, like Lyft, not good enough, and down 10, 15% this morning as well. This evening, two big names, Cisco, which has been a leader recently, and AppLovin, clearly a controversial name. Those will be two of the big names reporting this evening. Piper lowers their target on Robinhood to 135 from 155. They have an overweight. Spotify, which was a big beat and a beautiful move yesterday, gets upgraded to buy from accumulate at Inderis. No, I don't know who they are. Their price target, 595. Spotify is reinstated as a top pick over at Morgan Stanley, but they do lower their target to 650 from 775. Lyft, target lower to 16 at Concord. Hold. Lyft, target lower to 20 from 28. Piper. Lyft, price target lowered to 22 from 26. Guggenheim and Morgan Stanley lowers their price target on Lyft to 17. Cloudflare, even though it's leading to the upside, the street is very lukewarm on the stock. Piper is a neutral with 222 price target. UBS is a neutral with a 220 price target. Guggenheim raised their target to 140. They still have a sell rating. Price target is raised to 225 at Jefferies with a hold. And I found someone who likes Cloudflare. It is actually bear. They upgrade the stock to outperform from neutral. Price target 260. Again, that's all on Cloudflare. NET. Moving on, Datadog. Price target lowered to 185 from 210. Over at Concord, they have a buy. SMR, the stock I know you guys traded a lot months ago. New Scale gets downgraded to hold from buy. Over at Cowen, Qualcomm, downgraded to neutral from outperform at Daiwa. All right, so today, NFP. Think of it this way: below 30, above 110, those are your extremes. In the middle, we absorb and we really listen to what the revisions are. And then there might be a trade-off of them. Otherwise, I won't be forcing the trade. We're in a choppy area after an oversold condition. We had a rally, which thank God we predicted would come. But now what to do? Well, twiddle your thumbs. Is that the saying, I believe? Just really try and not force things. Remember, the way to make real money is not worrying day to day. It's week to week, month to month. And clearly a lot of people had humongous weeks last week. And we had some follow through with IGV yesterday. And we were smart enough or lucky enough, whatever the hell you want to call it, don't much care, to sell our position as we entered resistance near 87. Now you sit and you wait and you stay patient and you don't force things because you're bored. So the NFP will matter and we'll pay attention. Day after trades, there's a lot of them. Certainly Cloudflare, Net, Hood, ALAB, VRT, and Shopify will be the preferred one. Okay, 100-day, 614. We're slightly below. The 50-day, big resistance, 619. Again, you saw kind of one of my focus ideas was short the Qs yesterday. It worked. I wasn't patient enough to really get paid big. But that kind of that 616 through 619 area might be resistance for a bit. On the support side, 8-day, 611, pivot 605. And we have to be open-minded there because we might chop around and do a whole lot of nothing in terms of making any progress, whether it be to the down or upside. The SPY 697 and 700 pivots. Rick, as I remember, feels very strongly that the SPX will be going to 7,000. I have no opinion. Moving the support on SPY 690. That's the 21-day. ENPH, clearly a leader in this present environment after a strong earnings report and turnaround, continues to be a name we'll focus on and buy the dips. 48 seems to be a great area. I certainly would keep adding 47 or 46 as well. I'd have a lot more at 46 than I would at 48, but I think you know that. If you don't, now you do. Immunome, kind of bending here. I've been telling you to get really light, up at 27, and it's showing some weakness. Is it ugly? No, it's still above its 21-day, but if it breaks, it looks like 22, and that's where I will start adding back. So Immunome, 50-day, 22 will get you done. Rocket moved yesterday with the housing names that all broke out. Monstrous move yesterday in all of housing after a lot of back and forth action. I think we'll find out how much it means in terms of short-term trading as they respond to the NFP number. But Rocket did move. Here's why I'd add to Rocket. Down near the 100-day, that's 1890 and below. RKT. NVIDIA. So I am of the belief that you can have a 2-day move like that, get all this monstrous data that talks about spending like we've never seen, and think NVIDIA's done. And sure enough, in 2 days, we made back all of the losses that it took about a week to make. So when I saw some weakness yesterday, I added some calls for the earnings print, and we'll continue to do so on any dips in NVIDIA. Call it 188 and lower. NVIDIA is probably strong this morning after the VRT print because, well, they are connected. If you don't know that, I'll talk to you about it another time. But bottom line, there's so much data that says this trade is not over. NVIDIA trades at a reasonable multiple, so hard to write it off. Is it leading the market? No. Is it a leader? Yes. Don't get confused. Who's leading the market? Just so you guys understand. And yeah, I have to talk away from the mic because my Dow box is on the right. But it's companies like Caterpillar and Deere and FedEx and WAB and Sherwin-Williams and Rockwell Automation and Triple M. Those are your market leaders. Understand that. XOM, Exxon, XLE, right? This is what's moving. So if you're sitting here buying CoreWeave and MBIS every day, God help you. Moving on. SanDisk, Micron. Talk about leadership. So they've been bending. You might notice a big move this morning. Wolf, 8:50 a.m. Micron call. I think it'll answer a lot of questions. It might be ready to enter. I certainly will wait for that. And more importantly, we know our levels because I'm going to give them to you. Micron, 21-day, 388. But I want to own Micron and SanDisk because I don't think the trade's over. I just thought they were ready to correct, and they did. On SanDisk, the ideal level, that's the 21-day, 520. Will I enter above? Sure, if this Micron call goes kind of well enough that I have to. There is one thing to remember. It is less than 2 weeks till Western Digital sells their 7.5 million share stake, which will surely have big block buyers ready for it, whether it be in a secondary or however it's done. There will be a block sold. Be ready for that moment because it'll probably go down and then back up quicker than you can say fruitcake. Again, however it's done, there will be a block sold. Be ready for that moment. Most of it, there is one block left. That's 5%, 7.5 million shares. And these shares, why do we know they're going to be sold? Because they've already told us by February 21st, they plan to sell that stake. But anyway, two focus names I want to buy. There is a call with Micron and Wolf at 8:50 Eastern time. Iron, well, that was a cute trade, worked out. I let Kira do the hard part for me and fight it on Monday. And then I did it Tuesday, and Kira did it as well. Why do I say it like that? Let me explain. Talked to a couple people last night, and I said, listen, when I'm doing something, sorry, I think my assistant needs me for something important. Okay, sorry about that. So sometimes there's nothing I love better than watching a trader I respect, who's talented and bright, who might even be doing an idea I like, do something ahead of me and be a bit early and go through the pain. You know, like how I bought IGV at 82 and then it goes to 81, and then it goes to 80 and 79, or I bid at 37 and then it goes to 36, 35 and 34. So the idea hasn't changed. I'm going through some of the pain. You were lucky enough to avoid it. Take advantage of that. I do it all the time. I just don't talk about it, but I thought if I talked about it, it might help you. Okay, moving on. Meta, I know a bunch of you liked it on Monday. It had that big gap. Kind of was quiet yesterday. Into 661, that's your 21-day. I like that area. I have written down, I'm going to look at housing. I'm going to look at housing because it broke out yesterday. Let's see if there's follow through, but I don't know if there's much to do. You guys by now know DHI is one of my favorites. Bitcoin's bending a bit. We're at 66,000 after rallying to 71, 72. Not very smart, but I knew it was a dead cat bounce and we should at least de-risk. So we're in great shape, right? But I'm not just going to buy it back. I don't know if it's going to really lead or just chop around and do a whole lot of nothing. Here are your levels. 65,000. Okay, I'll buy a little bit back. And 60,000 recent lows. Okay, I'll buy a little bit back. Silver leading this morning into the 21-day. I think it would be a really solid short for cash flow. That's 83. We have the NFP in 17 minutes. I'll be on in a bit.
Good morning, everybody. Happy hump day. Let's go to the charts. We have 10 minutes before the numbers. Here's the SPY. It's trading above the 8 and 10, and those levels are 690 and 690.19 and 690.28. Yesterday's low 691.66. Why do I think that SPX is going to 7,000? Because we're so close, and it includes the industrials that are not included in tech. So that's why I think it has legs to 7,000. On the upside, yesterday's high 696.5, above there, pivots at 697.30, 698.80, and then a fib target above 700. Here are the cues. We're trading right at 612 this morning. That's just above the 8-day 611.5. The 10-day 614, the 100-day 614.20. AVWAP is 617 and the 50 619. Some work to do on the upside, but takes out 619 and that can go. Here's Tesla. Well, it did break above the 10-day and it held yesterday. I'm probably shouting, right? Yesterday's high 427. The 21 days 429.5. Above there 437 and the 100-day 439.60. Middle of the range 421.37. The 10 417.79 and yesterday's low 416.60 and the 8 days at 414.96. Here's Robinhood. David gave us the reason it stopped yesterday at 77 and it was brilliant. It's because that's all it had priced in. Below there 72.60 and 68.67 are your levels. On the upside 81.91, 83.67 and 85.75. Here's Astera. The 8-day 161.40. We're trading at 163.85 right now. 160.22 is the 10. 156.75 is the pivot. The 21 days 168.46. It could bounce to there. We'll watch it for the day after trade. And above there is the 100 171.22. Let's have a great day. 7 minutes till the number.
And guys, I can't tell you I know what to make of it, but I know a few people are uneasy about this El Paso news with the airport being closed. It's highly unusual. So I guess you have to be prepared. Like, is there something, out there that we should be concerned about that can affect markets? Because it's definitely a very unusual event, and many people are talking about it this morning. Well, that should calm fears. That seems much less, you know, much less of an event that really the market would care about. Thanks, Gilbert. Appreciate it.
Mike is on for NFP. $130,000 versus $65,000.
Pretty strong number, guys. I didn't think this pop gets sold, but we'll see. That's a strong number. I think revisions, everyone's waiting on them.
Average hourly earnings 0.4. They were looking for 0.3. Unemployment rate 4.3 versus 4.4.
revisions aren't a disaster, and that's why we're going higher. So right now, the market's taking it as glass half full, not glass half empty. In other words, the economy is not falling apart, but I imagine the odds of a rate cut have gone down, and I don't see really anything to do off of this. Just a reminder, we are right here, like specifically on the Qs, back above the 100-day recent pivot resistance, high 616, 617, and then we have the 50-day at 619. Going to be doing some work, but I don't, see anything to rush and do off this number. So we'll chat in a bit. Bottom line is the market's like, you know what? Okay. We might not get a rate cut, but the economy is holding in there, and we're comfortable investing. It's not like it's falling apart and we didn't know it. That's what I take from it.